Could a tiny mistake in your morning routine raise your risk of stroke without you knowing it? Every year, thousands of older adults are rushed to the ER because of silent warning signs they missed often while they were brushing their teeth, making coffee, or just standing up too fast. But here's the good news in this video. You'll learn 5 simple life-saving steps you can take at home, even if you live alone, to protect your heart, brain, and independence. No pills, no equipment, just clear actions you can do right away. Don't wait until it's too late. These minutes could change everything for you or someone you love. Before we begin, I'd love to hear from you. Type the word HOPE in the comments and tell me where and what time you're watching this. I'm reading every reply. If this helps you, hit subscribe so you don't miss the next tip. It might save your life. Now let's dive in. The first and most important step: recognizing the warning signs and acting without delay. Now, I know that might sound simple, but here's the truth, my friend. Most strokes and heart attacks don't come with dramatic movie-style chest clutching or collapsing to the floor. Sometimes it's just a little numbness in your cheek or a strange fuzzy feeling in your arm. Maybe a few words come out jumbled while you're reading the newspaper and you think, well, that's odd. Maybe I didn't sleep well. But those small signals, they could be your only chance to act before real damage is done. Let me tell you about James. He's 73, retired school teacher, lives in a quiet suburb in Wisconsin. One morning while sitting in his kitchen sipping coffee, he noticed the left side of his face felt strange. Not painful, just odd, like it wasn't quite responding. Then he tried to lift his left arm, and it felt heavier than usual. Now, James is the kind of guy who normally doesn't like to cause a fuss, but thankfully he had heard something on the local radio just a week before about stroke signs. So instead of brushing it off, he called 911 right away. That one decision saved his life. He was treated within an hour, what doctors call the golden window, and today you'd never know anything had happened. He walks his dog every afternoon, plays cards at the community center, and jokes about how lucky he was. But it wasn't luck. It was action. That's why I'm telling you this. Recognizing the signs isn't just helpful, it's absolutely vital. And the tricky part, these signs often feel harmless at first. Maybe it's just a little shortness of breath when walking to the mailbox. Or your chest feels tight after lunch, and you wonder, was it the chili I've heard it all? Must be indigestion, I'm just tired, or I don't want to trouble anyone. But according to the Mayo Clinic, every minute that passes during a stroke, nearly 2 million brain cells can die. That's not just scary, it's devastating. Same goes for heart attacks. Harvard Health points out that women and older adults often have atypical symptoms like fatigue, dizziness, or nausea, not the classic chest-crushing pain you see on TV. That's why it's so important to trust yourself. If something feels wrong, call 911. Don't drive yourself. Don't wait and see. And please don't worry about bothering someone. Emergency responders would rather show up to find out you're okay than arrive too late to help. One thing you can do right now is keep a small note in your wallet, a list of medications you're taking, any allergies, and your emergency contact. Some folks use a medical ID bracelet, and I think that's smart. You can also save a contact in your phone under ice in case of emergency. Paramedics are trained to look for that. Because when you're alone and something happens, having that info handy helps doctors make fast, safe choices. Now, if you're sitting there thinking, I'm not sure I'd remember what a stroke looks like, don't worry, you're not alone. There's a simple trick, fast. Face drooping, arm weakness, speech difficulty. Time to call 911. It's easy to remember, and it could save your life. Write it on a sticky note. Put it on the fridge. Better yet, teach it to someone you love, because knowledge shared is power shared. And look, I know the idea of facing something like this is scary. No one wants to think about a stroke or heart attack, but knowing the signs and choosing to act, that's not being fearful. That's being prepared. It's being strong, smart, independent, the way so many of you have always been. So here's what I want you to take away. If your body's sending a signal, don't ignore it. Whether you're in Kansas, Oregon, or right here in Georgia, your life is worth protecting. You've worked too hard, loved too deeply, and lived too much to let hesitation stand in your way. If this message resonates with you, type hope in the comments so I know you're here and listening. And if you find this helpful, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you won't miss the next simple tip. We're all learning together. Now take a deep breath. You've got this. Let's keep going. The next part is something I really think you'll want to hear. The second life-saving habit is something most people over 65 have never heard of, but it could save your life if you're alone. Now let me ask you this. What would you do if you suddenly felt your chest tighten and your heartbeat skipped, but there was no one else in the house? No neighbor close by, no family around, just you. That's a scary thought, but it's one many older adults live with every day, especially those who live alone in quieter towns, maybe like Flagstaff, Arizona, or Albany, New York, or even out in the farmlands of Iowa. You see, when a heart attack or stroke hits and you're alone, the first few minutes are critical. Those early moments decide everything, whether you stay conscious, whether your heart keeps going, and whether you get help in time. There's something called cough CPR. It's not the same as regular CPR, the kind someone else does for you. But if you're still awake and your heart starts beating irregularly, this technique might help buy you time. That's exactly what happened to Helen, a 78-year-old widow in Tucson, Arizona. One summer afternoon, she was folding laundry when she felt an odd pressure in her chest. Not pain exactly, but like her breath had gotten tight. Her heart started racing, like it was skipping beats. And for a moment, she felt dizzy, like the ground had shifted just slightly under her feet. But Helen had been to a senior health seminar at her local church a few months earlier. Someone had mentioned something called cough CPR. So she sat down, took a breath, and started coughing firmly. Every few seconds, one strong cough. Not a soft little throat clearing, but deep, deliberate coughing from her chest. In between, she did what she remembered: slow, steady breaths through her nose, then out through pursed lips, like she was blowing through a straw. Then she called 911. When paramedics arrived, they told her the coughing may have helped her heart keep pumping until they got there, and the breathing, it kept her from passing out. Now let me be clear. Cough CPR is not a replacement for emergency care. It's not something to rely on instead of calling for help. But according to the Cleveland Clinic, it may help maintain circulation if you're alone and having serious heart rhythm issues, especially if you're still conscious. Why is it helpful? Well, coughing causes your chest muscles to contract, kind of like when someone gives you chest compressions. It can help push blood through your body and even stimulate your heart to keep beating. Breathing slowly through pursed lips helps increase oxygen and calms your nervous system. It brings your panic level down. And that's huge, because when panic sets in, your body starts burning through oxygen faster, your blood pressure spikes, and everything gets worse. That's how people faint or lose consciousness before help even arrives. I know this might sound like a lot, but just think of it this way. If you're ever in that moment, maybe sitting on your porch in Kentucky or in your kitchen in upstate New York, and something doesn't feel right, remember this: sit down, stay upright, cough strong, breathe slow, call for help. You don't need any fancy equipment, no machines, no pills, just your own body and a little knowledge. And you can practice this too. A few minutes each morning, breathe in through your nose, hold and blow slowly through pursed lips. Do it while waiting for your coffee to brew. It trains your body to stay calm under stress. Simple right now. You might be thinking, would I even remember this in the middle of a crisis? That's a fair question. But here's the thing. When you go over it once or twice, it sticks. Just like how you always check the stove before leaving the house. It's muscle memory. You build it. So maybe tonight, write this down on a sticky note. If I feel chest pain or dizziness, sit, cough strong, breathe slow. Call 911. Stick it on your fridge or by your phone, anywhere easy to see. And if you're watching this and thinking of someone you care about, maybe a friend who lives alone, send this to them too, because just knowing this could make the difference. Now let's take a breath together. In, hold, and out through the lips. Feels better, right? All right, let's keep going. The next tip is just as powerful, and it might be something no one's ever told you before. The third tip is simple but powerful. Your body position and breathing can help you stay stable even when you're alone. Most folks don't think about how they're sitting when something feels off. But in a crisis, the way you position your body and the way you breathe can truly make a difference. A lot of seniors think the best thing to do is lie down flat. But unless you've fallen or feel like you'll faint, that's actually not the best idea. Let me tell you about Helen again. She's 78 lives in Tucson, Arizona. Same lady I mentioned earlier. After learning cough CPR at a community talk, she got curious and started practicing gentle breathing exercises every morning. Nothing fancy, just a few minutes of slow breaths while sitting on her front porch watching the birds. One morning she felt strange, lightheaded, and like her chest was heavy. Not quite pain, just pressure. But instead of panicking, she remembered what she'd practiced. She sat down in her kitchen chair, leaned slightly forward, and rested her elbows on her knees like you would if you were catching your breath after a long walk. Then she started breathing, in through her nose for 4 seconds. Hold it. And then slowly out through her mouth for 6 seconds, like blowing gently through a straw. That posture and breathing, it helped her stay calm. It helped her stay conscious. And when the paramedics got there, she was able to speak clearly and explain what she felt. Now, according to the Mayo Clinic, shallow panic breathing during a heart event can reduce oxygen to your brain and make symptoms worse. But slow, steady breaths actually help lower your heart rate and blood pressure. 2 things you want under control if your body's under stress, and sitting forward like Helen did, that reduces pressure on your chest and lungs, helping you breathe more easily. Think of it like making room inside your body for your heart and lungs to do their job. I know it's easy to freeze when something scary hits, to hold your breath or curl up in fear. But if you can train your body to respond calmly, it changes the outcome. Think of it like this. If you practice your breathing once a day, just a few slow inhales and long exhales, your body remembers. That's what they call muscle memory. Like how you remember how to drive, even if it's been years since you last did. Here's a simple pattern you can try today. Breathe in through your nose for 4 seconds. Hold it for 4, and breathe out through pursed lips for 6 seconds. That's the 4-4-6 method. You can do this while sitting at the table watching TV or lying down for a nap. It helps your nervous system stay balanced, and it gives your heart a break. Cleveland Clinic suggests this kind of breathing, especially when combined with proper body positioning, can help reduce dizziness, lower anxiety, and improve oxygen flow when your heart is working overtime. And here's something sweet Helen told me. She started doing this breathing every morning while petting her cat. She said it gave her a peaceful minute, just her the sunrise and her breath. So if you're watching this and thinking, that sounds too simple to matter, I get it. But simple doesn't mean small. In fact, the simplest actions are often the ones that save us. You don't need to buy a gadget. You don't need to memorize a bunch of instructions. You just need to know where to sit, how to lean forward, and how to breathe slow and steady. So tonight, before you go to bed, maybe try 1 round of that 4-4-6 breath. Just once. Then again tomorrow morning. Build the habit like brushing your teeth, small and regular. You're not just calming your body, you're building strength from the inside out. And if you've got a sticky note lying around, maybe write this down. Sit up, lean forward, breathe slow. I've got this. Put it on your fridge or beside your coffee maker. Because one day, if your heart or brain calls out for help, your body will remember and you'll know exactly what to do. Now, ready for one more life-saving tip? This next one might surprise you. Let's keep going. The 4th thing I want to share with you might sound small, but it could change everything. See, most people think a stroke or heart problem starts big. They expect fireworks, pain, collapse, flashing lights. But the truth is, it often starts with something so quiet, so ordinary, you could miss it. And that's the danger. Let me tell you about Carl. He's 75 lives just outside Columbus, Ohio. Big football fan, retired carpenter, keeps to himself mostly. One morning he was sweeping his porch when he felt this odd discomfort in his chest. Not pain, just off. Like a weight sitting there, making him breathe a little harder than usual. Now, a few years ago, Carl would have ignored it. He might have blamed it on a heavy breakfast or the humidity. But that day he paused. He remembered a talk his daughter sent him, kind of like this one, where someone said, "Don't wait for the pain. Listen to the whispers." So Carl went inside, sat down, took a few deep breaths, and called 911. Turns out he was having what doctors call a silent heart attack. No classic chest clutching, just a quiet signal from his body. And because he acted early, he recovered fully. Now I'm telling you this because it's easy, too easy, to brush off the soft warnings. A little dizziness when you get up, feeling off in your stomach, a tingle in your arm that fades in minutes. Mayo Clinic says many people experience mini strokes, they call them TIAs, before a big stroke happens. These tiny episodes might only last a few minutes. Maybe your speech gets fuzzy. Maybe you can't quite move your fingers right, and then it clears up. But that doesn't mean you're okay. That's your body waving a red flag, a final warning. If we miss that moment, we might miss the chance to stop something worse. Here's what I recommend, and it's something anyone can do, even sitting right there at your kitchen table. Start a simple health journal. It doesn't have to be fancy. Just a little notebook or calendar where you write down how you feel each day. Note anything unusual, a weird ache, blurry vision, unexpected tiredness, anything that doesn't feel like you. Over time, patterns show up. Maybe you'll notice that dizziness only happens after eating certain things, or that chest tightness comes after walking too fast. You start to know your body like an old friend, when it's calm, when it's calling for help. And this isn't just keeping busy. Studies show that people who track their symptoms are more likely to report changes early and get help before it's too late. You don't need to wait until something feels serious, because sometimes the most serious warnings are the quietest. So how about this tonight? Grab a notepad. Title the page, "How I Felt Today." Just that, nothing more. Write a few lines. Maybe tired in the afternoon, slight headache before dinner, felt fine after resting. Do it again tomorrow and the next day. You'll be amazed what you learn about yourself and how strong you feel when you're in tune with your body. Remember, you know yourself better than anyone. If something doesn't feel right, trust that instinct. Don't wait. Don't second guess. Because you matter. Your life matters. And catching the early signs is one of the greatest gifts you can give to yourself and to the people who love you. All right, take a breath with me. And when you're ready, let's move to the next part. I think you'll find it surprisingly hopeful. The fifth habit isn't about what to do during a stroke or heart event. It's about what you do today before anything ever happens. Because let's be honest, a lot of us think, "Oh, I'll figure it out when the time comes." But when your heart is racing or your speech isn't working right, that's not the time to guess. That's the time to act. And if you live alone like millions of Americans over 65, being ready can make all the difference. I remember talking with Mr. Ray from Arkansas, 82 years old and still sharp as a tack. He told me the story of when he had a dizzy spell in the garage. No one was around, but his son had helped him set up a medical alert button the week before. One press and help was on the way. Ray said, "I didn't think I'd need it, but boy, I was glad it was there." Here's the thing: you don't need to spend a fortune or become a health nut. But there are a few small things, really small, that can give you peace of mind. Start with your phone. Make sure you've got 911 saved clearly, and maybe 1 or 2 trusted contacts marked ICE, that stands for "in case of emergency." Write those same numbers on a sticky note and keep it near your landline or fridge. That way, even in a moment of panic, they're within reach. Next, put together a simple list of your current medications. Just the basics, what you take, how much, and when. Keep it with your wallet or your walker pouch. And if you don't already, try calling or texting someone, a friend, a neighbor, your daughter, just once each morning. AARP calls it a buddy check-in system. You don't need a long conversation, just a good morning, I'm up. It's one of the easiest safety nets you'll ever build. You can even write this down now. Talk, post, prepare, breathe. It's not about being scared, it's about being ready. Because knowing you've got those things in place, that's not just smart, it's freedom. All right, deep breath in, slow breath out. Feeling more in control. Good, let's move on. The next part is all about prevention. You're gonna like this. The sixth and final habit is one I truly believe in: prevention. Because truth is, most strokes and heart issues don't come out of nowhere. They build quietly over years. But that also means you have more power than you think. I want to tell you about Mr. Robert. He's 72 lives in Amarillo, Texas. 4 years ago, he had what his doctor later called a mini stroke. Nothing dramatic, just felt tired, a little off balance, like he hadn't slept. He got lucky it passed, but it scared him enough to make some small changes. Now, every morning, Robert starts his day with a glass of water, a bit of stretching, and 5 minutes of gentle breathing. He goes for a slow walk after dinner. His meals simple: less salt, more greens, a piece of salmon once or twice a week. And guess what? He hasn't had another episode since. Harvard Health says staying hydrated and sleeping at least 7 hours a night can cut stroke risk significantly. And the American Heart Association recommends keeping sodium under 1,500 millimoles in a day. It's not about being perfect. It's about doing a little better today than you did yesterday. So even if all you do this week is drink one more glass of water or take one more walk around the block, that matters. And it tells your body, hey, I care about you. You deserve that. Now let's take this hope with us and look at what it means for the people we love too. Ready? Let's wrap it up together. So my friend, if there's one thing I hope you'll take away from today, it's this. You have more control than you think. A few small habits. The way you breathe, the way you sit, the way you listen to your body, they can make all the difference. If something here spoke to you, I'd love to know. Just type a word of feeling or even just the word hope in the comments. I read every single one. And if this felt helpful, would you mind hitting that subscribe button? Maybe even ring the little bell so you don't miss the next video. And please share this with someone you care about. You never know. It might be exactly what they need to hear today. Now take a deep breath with me. May your next morning be gentle, your heart be steady, and may you always feel just a little more prepared and a lot more hopeful. I'm sending you warmth from here. Take good care. We'll talk again soon.